Hello, friend. I'm glad you're here. Today we'll be enjoying chapter 91 of Goodnight, punpun. And to give you an update about yesterday, I feel a little better. My freedom is still on the line, so still keep me in your prayers and send me good vibes. And before we start this chapter, take a deep breath with me. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And out. Thank you. Oh, hi there. Could you just wait by the booth for a minute? All this talk about manga published in recession is old hat, but I won't deny that there's been more appealing things than manga published as of late. Of course, manga won't ever die out as long as there's still good works made. I see. So, you two worked on this together? Yes. He was in charge of the story, sort of. Nice work, Miss Nanju. As usual, your art and layout are well done. However, I'm still not sure how interesting this actually is. I suppose this is as usual as well. Would you like something to drink? Hello there, Miss Fukasawa. I have to say your last work was excellent. If I recall correctly, you're a fan of Fukasawa, aren't you, Miss Nanju? Well, this is just between you and me, but even his works his works sell well enough as separate volumes, but they're not quite popular enough to sell the whole magazine. And his stories can be a little heavy-handed, but I suppose it's fine since the content itself isn't too deep or anything. But I suppose that's just how less mainstream works are. But there are still a fair amount of readers who's engrossed by the atmosphere of such stories, aren't there? Well, even if there were, our company certainly doesn't need any more than one such author. Now, about you're a midday shooting star. In it, the jobless protagonist, living a monotonous life, runs across his former high school classmate while in Tokyo. Hello? I'm calling about the line on panel 3, page 16. A few days later, he hears that she committed suicide, and after realizing the world keeps on spinning as usual, decides to move on with his life. In my opinion, the protagonist is just too self-contained for this story to be any interesting. And honestly, most worries a 20-year-old could possibly have can be simply solved if he just found a job and worked hard at it. Even if it didn't, the self-confidence gained from hard work would then guide his future. I really can't see the story as anything more than being about some emo kid. His self-pity is just annoying, and it makes him seem like such a spoiled child. There are much more unfortunate people out there in this world, and yet they don't all act as depressed as your protagonist. So, in other words, you'd rather have me write a moving story about the truly misfortunate people of society? I'm afraid I don't have the proper qualifications to draw such a story. And if I were to draw it, I'd feel like I'd be drawing just one big lie. And in the first place, fortune and misfortune are relative. So, I believe that sympathizing with the misfortunes of others as nothing more than self-deceit. I want to draw a story from the perspective of an average person, because the world we live in today is one where even the hopeless can continue living their dreary lives without fear of going hungry. It's my conviction that the courage to risk failure is the most crucial thing to have for us to live in such a domesticated world. But that's just too self-congratulatory. It's nothing more than a big circle jerk. Well, I want to see it. As long as there's a meaning to it, even a masturbatory work can be worthwhile. Well then, what about the girl that commits suicide in your story? How realistic is this? aren't you actually drawing a lot here, despite what you just said? Then if I were to commit suicide right here and now, would that be enough for you to accept and approve of my manga? Looks like we're getting a little off topic here. Why don't we get back on track? For a manga, being interesting should be the first and foremost priority. Because we live in such a tough world, the readers want something cheerful and simple to easily latch onto. That's just idiotic. Such shallow emotions evoked by those stories won't solve anything. What people need is a more tangible sense of values with which to resolve the conflicts of everyday life. Even if that causes others to think of you as a warped, as long as you can remain true to yourself until the moment you die. That is what I believe true dignity is. I'm afraid stating such self-assured facts these days will only alienate the readers. Why don't we calm down for a moment, Miss Nanju? You seem awfully high-strung at the moment. Just who is it you're fighting? Me, the readers, or perhaps society? Whatever the case, I'd like for you to set aside your personal attachments for the time being. If you start coming at me with such incomplete ideological arguments, I'm not even sure where to begin. So, please try to communicate a clearer message next time. In any case, I'll submit your work to the newcomer award pool for the time being. Although I won't say that expressing such personal feelings in a work is necessarily a bad thing. I will say this. There's not as many people as you think in this world who would take an interest in what you have to say. Yes, page 16, panel 3. The line, I want to smell her pussy. Can I get that changed to, I like to put my nose right on her pussy and take a deep whiff? Excuse me, I have to go to the washroom and change my tampon. Whew, she used to be a little calmer. So, you going out with her? Ah, is that so? Well, it's not like I care either way. Why don't we grab a bite before we head home? Nay would be nice. What do you say to some motsu nabe? It'll be my treat. What is it? Spit it out. It'll be alright since you're a genius, Sachi. Just shut up for a moment. I've got no choice but to keep trying. No other choice. Thank you so much, friend, for spending this moment with me. And remember, you're not alone. I love you. You matter. Good night. Sweet dreams. Mwah.